myself and Mark are here in Shabden there. We were at a sort of a 3-day trial. What's it called? It's a Continental, is it?
Continental, yeah.
And so we're worn out judging there. Well, there's a few of us, but we've been kind of six courses or 3 courses and 6 trials. It's been a lot of dogs we've seen from everywhere in Europe and here in England, and an Irish dog and some Welsh dogs. But I was talking to Mark, and you were just telling me that you're sort of between dogs now, and that you're going to be judging the national and that next year, but that you have some nice nursery dogs. And I was just wondering to myself, what kind of things do you look for in a young dog? You know, when you say, you know, you have a couple there that you think could be something, what are you seeing in them that you like?
I'm looking for, in a young dog myself, more of a line dog. I'm a little bit more traditional. Nowadays you don't see so many line dogs, but I still have a lot of sheep work to do, and these flanking dogs are not really for me too much. I need a line dog to push sheep about, so I'm looking for something a little bit more direct on sheep.
Is that
more pushy?
A line dog, he's inclined to walk in and rather than be casting back and forth around them. Is that it? Or wearing sheep, he kind of walks directly in, is it?
Yeah. As a line dog, I like them to walk directly into their sheep, and I like to be able to flank them off at my command if I can, but more of a line dog.
And when you have young dogs like that, then that are kind of line dogs, is there more training in them? Do you have to teach them to flank off? Do you have to square them up and that kind of thing?
Yeah, there's a little bit more training in them. They might, a lot of people might say, a little bit harder to train. You know, they're so much more direct, and you have to put more pressure on maybe to push them out.
Yeah. They want to get on with things though, as a rule. They want to push on. Like.
Yeah, they want to push on all the time. You're pretty much constantly trying to hold them back.
Yes.
But they're better for me. You know, when you're working with 200 or 300 ewes with lambs, you need that line dog. Mm-hmm. You need a dog with push.
Yeah, because everything will stop otherwise.
Everything stops, yeah.
So I often hear people saying, oh, I have a young dog there and he's lovely and natural and all. And when I hear natural, I think natural is good, but I'm always afraid of a natural dog, because I think when you start training him, maybe if he's naturally the right width, the next thing maybe he opens out more than you want. Or what do you think about, like, would you be looking for dogs to be coming naturally that way, or do you mind changing them, or can you change them a bit?
You can change more or less any dog. It's finding a particular dog to suit your purposes for your trialing, your work, whatever. But at the end of the day, I tend to think you can't beat the natural dog.
Yes.
They're so much easier on their outrun, their flanks and everything. You know, if you have to fight with a dog on its flanks, sooner or later it'll let you down somewhere.
Yeah.
You know, if you have to put them man-made flanks in, at some point they will let you down. But the natural dogs, you can't beat them.
Yes.
Beat them.
And then on bigger courses, I suppose, in that distance, and when you can't see them, you need a little bit of that there naturally. Like.
Yeah, you need a dog that'll think a little bit for himself. Yeah, natural balance.
And come here, now that you just said that about thinking for himself, how would you describe your style? Are you one of them boys that likes a dog to be kind of 50-50 and leave him with some of the thing? Or because I see a lot of people seem to be able to get by with just nearly obedience on dogs. What's your feeling on obedience? And
times, it's changing times. Things have changed a lot over the years. I like, if sheep are so much lighter now to what they used to be. I've seen over on the continent when I've been judging over there in America, sheep so much heavier, and you can let your dogs do more, think more for themselves.
Yes.
We find with our sheep now in the UK, they're a lot lighter. So the flanking dogs for the trial purposes are probably that little bit much better.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Less management on
it. But I do like to, if I can leave my dog and I can pace him right, I like to let him balance.
But there's the thing now, when you get light sheep, and I was asking you about this earlier, that pace and all, and I was watching Ross Games yesterday, I wanted to talk to him about it a bit actually, is how to know where that distance is, that right distance to be at, where you're not out of contact, but you're like these mules that we're looking at sometimes, especially on Friday there, they're kind of lively and tricky and they're intelligent and that. And I was wondering, what distance is there, like how do you know the distance to keep your dog back, and how do you teach them the pace maybe at that distance? Or can you do that?
Yeah, you can do it. Your sheep tend to tell you where your dog is. You know, if your sheep's grazing and not paying attention, you know your dog is out of contact, he's not near enough.
Yes.
If your sheep's galloping, you know your dog's too near.
Yes.
So that tells you a lot about your distance for your dog. But yeah, you pace them at your own.
And so when we go to other trials, then say we were on Cheviot's tomorrow and we're on Blackie's the next day or whatever, that distance is going to change. But can we get the dog to kind of work at that distance we want if we decide, it's 10 yards on blackies for talk's sake? Can we get him to kind of stay in that range?
Yeah, if you've got your dog under good control, you should be able to pace him at the distance you want to pace him at. And for sheepdog trialing, you've got to have that stop-start, pace them, or you're just not going to succeed. But some sheep's different. But you're going to saying that blackies there, blackies are more frightened of you than they probably are of the dog.
Yes.
So they're that much jumpier. Yeah.
Yeah. We've been looking at all kinds of dogs there now for the last 3 days. When we're judging, is there a bit of a responsibility on us, do you think, when we're judging, to sort of reward the right dogs, or to, I don't know, do we have an influence on, we're talking about dogs changing and that kind of thing, should we look for a little bit more when we're judging, or ask for a little bit more out of the fellas? I heard you talking about shedding there. I thought it was good.
Yeah, it's a tricky one really, because every judge has his own opinion on what's right and what's wrong. You're going back to saying we're here to judge a sheepdog trial, and the lines have to be as straight as possible and as controlled as possible. Again, you're thinking of the type of dog that you would like is a little bit irrelevant to how you judge.
Yes.
Because the idea of the sheepdog trial is, you fetch, drive, cross-drive in as straight a line in a controlled manner as possible. Preference to whether you particularly like that dog or not, you have to judge that trial as it comes.
Yes. And be indifferent to the dog.
Yeah.
But then I heard you talking about shedding, and this is the thing that I find, I see some fellas find it important. I know you're one of them, where when you maybe ask for a shed now, and in my case I just asked for a split 2 sheep, but you ask for 2 on the head, and just to give him a little bit of a wear and that kind of thing. You ask for a little bit more from a handler and his dog.
Yeah, for me, it's a test of a working sheepdog and a shepherd. In a relatively practical situation. So that's why I ask for a shed. Sometimes I'll ask for them on the head or on the last 2. There is a difference.
Yes. Oh, yes.
There is a big difference.
Can you explain that difference to me? Because when the last 2, I'm thinking, well, first of all, they're heading this way and then they're heading that way, and how do you know which are the last 2?
Well, if you get a judge that asks for the last 2 on the nose, they have to all be facing the same way when the dog comes in.
Yes.
Now, if a judge asks for the last 2, now that when the man attempts to take his shed, as he moves in, if the last 2 sheep happen to turn, they're still the last 2 sheep.
Yes. Yes.
As he takes them. So that is okay. But on the nose, they all have to be facing the same way.
Oh, that's good.
But you don't find many people that ask us for that now on the nose. Bobby DL would be one, probably.
Yes.
That would ask for that. But not many nowadays.
Yes.
Yeah. A lot of people goes for the simple split.
Yeah.
But it's not a test. Well, it is a test in a way, but as long as you ask for that wear the control afterwards.
Yes, just to show that they have the 2. Yeah, because sometimes, and I've seen it a couple of times today, where a handler might walk in and help, or might step back into a shed to keep the gap and things like that. And we should be punishing stuff like that, shouldn't we?
Yes, because at the end of the day, the reason for shedding your 2 sheep or your single sheep, you're shedding it for a purpose, either to lamb it, catch it to do its foot, or take it to another field, whatever.
Yes.
So there is a purpose and why that is put on the course.
Yes.
Yeah. So you've got to test that ability of the dog to be able to handle that single sheep or the 2 sheep.
And after 3 days of judging there, I know I've seen a lot of things that kind of stuck out to me there that, keep cropping up or whatever. But do you see handlers maybe making a kind of a common mistake, or making a simple mistake that could be avoided? I know sometimes when I judge in America, I often see that people just stop their dogs more, or made them stop when they asked for it. They could get better runs out of their dogs, and I saw a little bit of that here the last 2 days. But is there anything like that sticks out to you with people, just a bit of advice that they could just change a little bit about their handling to help themselves?
Oh, well, there's all sorts of advice you can dish out for handling. We all make mistakes. It's easy said, sitting in the judge's position. We all know people that runs the dogs, when you get that post, it's a different situation. We can all go home and say, yeah, I wish we'd done this. And somebody will say, well, you should have done this, you should have done that. It's so easy to say that.
Yes.
But my biggest advice would be to enjoy it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
At the end of the day, enjoy it.
Yes. You and I certainly enjoy it anyway. We're fairly
Yeah.
addicted to it. We're still doing it. There's a thing that annoys me now. You know these dogs that they come up and they're creeping in at the lift and all, and when they eventually get sheep lifted, then they're motoring into everything and they won't stop and all. What's all that about there? Or is it just that they're a bit light and then they're a little bit out of control? And what can you do with them? Can you improve them? Like? Now, if you make them stop, are you taking everything out of the dog? And
A lot depends on the dog and the temperament. Temperament is so important on a dog.
yeah,
You know, your temperament has to be right. And something like that, I would probably put down either push too hard when it's too young, the temperament isn't right, and the pressure from the handler, the sheep, and then you get a burst.
yeah,
Yeah. That's where you tend to find that mostly.
Now that we're talking about that, we were talking about nursery dogs and all. Is there a big effort for? People seem to be getting dogs out younger and younger. To me, I'm never in a hurry. If a dog is 2 and he starting to come right, I'm kind of happy enough. I'm thinking about his best years. I'm focused on nationals and things like that. But do you think that there's a lot of good dogs maybe get spoiled there, but just not being given a little bit more time or a little bit more room to develop, maybe?
Yes, I think, if I'm going to be honest, yeah, I think it's just the way things have changed. But I think, yeah, a lot of young dogs are not given enough time. I tend to treat all my young dogs, my theory is I treat them all as kids.
Yes,
I let them grow up, but guide them.
yes,
You know, if you pressure, it's like nearly everybody, if they go back to when they were at school, if you get a teacher that is always at you and at you, you must do your homework or they'll keep you in detention and things like that, you tend to rebel.
yes.
That's
Yes.
Or at least that's what I did when I was at school.
Yes, no, I can identify.
And
with
we
that.
had a teacher, he was a maths teacher, and he used to have a bit of fun with us. I know there was a group of us, we weren't the best of kids at school, you know, we were into mischief and everything. But he would have a bit of fun with us, but when we were in his class, we did as we were told. And he
Yes.
expected that, but he would give us a little bit back as well.
Yes,
So we respected him for it.
that's very
And I
interesting.
tend to find that's how I treat all my young dogs.
Yes,
I'll give them their time, they give me, you know,
yes.
my time.
Yeah, I like that a lot because I can even think of school teachers I had, and sure, I mightn't have been a superstar in the class or anything, but I had great respect for them. And even when I think of them now, I'd have a warm feeling towards them.
Yeah.
Whereas there's those other ones that have been nagging you and at you the whole time, and everything you do is wrong, and they're always on your case, and you just want to see the back of them. Like.
Yeah, well, that's the same with your young dogs. If you're on and on and on at them all the time, they'll just rebel eventually.
And see, and I suppose for newer people, then they don't know the difference. What would you say to them? Maybe just to take a longer term view and don't be panicking about the small stuff and that, and well, I suppose if you're getting a bit of good advice too helps. But what can they do to stop that rushing or maybe forcing things a bit too hard? Or can they look at it differently? Like I often find if I look at it differently, well then all the tension goes out of it for me. Like.
Yeah, it all depends on the individual dog, and it depends on your goal, what you're wanting to achieve with that dog.
Oh yes, the
You
goal.
know,
I forgot about that. Yeah.
You get quite a lot of people who would like to do in the nurseries. They like to do well in the nurseries, and then they'll sell the dog on, and that's what they like to do.
Yes.
You know?
Yes.
You can't blame anybody for that.
Yes.
It's down to the individual, really. What
But it's
they
funny,
expect.
that's true. I have to remind myself, not everybody wants the dog I want, and not everybody wants the goal I want either. Like.
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's been great to meet you. I often see you around at nationals and internationals and things like that, but it's the first time I've had a chat with you now, and you've given me plenty of food for thought there over the last couple of days. Little bits of chats even. No, it's been great, and so I look forward to seeing you again. And well, I'll see you before you be judging the national next year. Surely I'll see you at Scotland or something at the international. Will you tip up to that?
Well, the international this year, I don't think I'll go. I'm intending going to Canada.
Oh, very good.
Yeah, I'm going for my holidays.
Oh, holidays
in
are
Canada.
somebody collared you for a clinic as well?
No, I know some people out there with dogs, yeah, but I'm going for the holidays.
Oh,
Yeah,
very good.
that's what I'm going to do.
Canada's a spot I love.
Yeah.
But come here anyway. Thanks, mister.
Yes,
Thanks very much for that.
thank you.